In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the tropics, of course, which I need to refresh it for some reason. There we go. As you can see, we do have two hurricanes active in the Atlantic right now. We do have a tropical depression 11, and then we have another disturbance to take a look at here. So multiple different things going on here across the tropics. We're also going to, of course, dive into the upcoming pattern and just take a look at what these impacts could be from these tropical systems, mostly Idalia there that will be bringing severe impacts to Florida and along the southeast coast. Franklin, not so much, but we're still going to talk about that one as well. I would like to mention that we do have our business prestige weather in the description and pinned comment down below. Of course, we do have our second winter forecast available within there, exclusively within there. And now we also have our when to expect your peak fall foliage available in there. I would also like to announce that we are going to be releasing the first snowfall, the total snowfall, the first freeze, the first frost. All of those videos are going to be getting released in there over the coming days. So if you join today, you will be getting early access to every single one of those. And those will be coming out on the YouTube channel in about a week or two from now. So if you want early access to all of that stuff, you can join today for $5 a month. Let's get straight into things. And first things first, we're taking a look here at the tropics, of course. Again, Hurricane Idalia, Hurricane Franklin, and then Tropical Depression 11, all active out there as we're approaching the very peak of hurricane season. We do have this 50% chance area of development out there in the very far eastern Atlantic, 20% chance over the next 48 hours. Obviously, that's increasing over time. So we are going to be watching this one potentially. But as you can see, it does look to take a northern curve there. So definitely going to be taking a look at a little bit less of a chance of seeing this ever really be a threat for anywhere in the Americas at all, for that matter, but really especially North America. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, anything is possible in weather, but we will have to just wait. Let's take a look at the cone forecast here for Hurricane Idalia. As you can see, expected to remain hurricane status, obviously. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, we will see this making impact with that kind of corner there of Florida as a major hurricane potentially. We're taking a look at anywhere from about category 2 to 3. Even 4 cannot be ruled out. I mean, anything is truly possible, but somewhere between 2 and 3, I think, is the most likely scenario here. I think that this one does obviously have the chance of being a 3, and that is what the National Hurricane Center is showing here, but I definitely also think there's a chance that this one just stays at a 2. It's really complicated when we're dealing with this warm of waters in the Gulf of Mexico, because it really just leads towards a lot of potential development and rapid development at that. So we're going to watch this one super closely. We do see tropical storm status basically for the rest of its life after that until at least 8 a.m. on Sunday. So we'll have to watch and see what ends up happening there. As you can see, we're going to be seeing this one onshore of Georgia and South Carolina most likely. There is the chance that it is a little bit offshore, in which case I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit stronger in that situation. And then we can even see North Carolina get impacted by this one as well. So there's going to be so many impacts to take a look at with this storm. And I highly recommend, especially if you're in Florida, that you heed all of the watches, warnings, and forecasts from the National Hurricane Center, where they have access to total rainfall expected, flash flooding risk, onset of winds, the total wind speed expected. All of that stuff is going to be available at the nhc.noaa.gov. So I highly recommend that be your official source here for what to expect as far as impacts. Let's just dive in here to the upcoming pattern. And as you can see, by later on today, on the 29th here, we could see this one in the middle of the kind of Gulf of Mexico there, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, if you will. We see Franklin over here as well. Mostly the driving force that's going to pull this storm eastward is, in fact, this storm Franklin, because whichever storm is the strongest usually pulls in the other one. So we are going to see a great pull from that Franklin that really is the main thing pulling it eastward. We could see throughout the later day today, we actually see some thunderstorm activity potentially up and down the East Coast. A little bit of some activity here for the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, and also for the Northwest there. As we just kind of move this right on towards tomorrow on Wednesday, the 30th here, we can see this hurricane or tropical storm perhaps by this point over southern Georgia, bringing a great wide variety of impacts, and really it's a wide stretching area of impacts as well. As we can see, rainfall from this one for states like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida as well. So definitely seeing plenty of impacts here. of course, to be expected with the hurricane. We can also see that these thunderstorms are expanding for the northwest there, so we still have plenty of activity. And then here for the northeast, we see some activity as well. So let's just keep going. By Thursday, the 31st here, we can see that this is a 994 offshore of North Carolina, and we are seeing very, very heavy impacts actually here for eastern North Carolina. So we're going to be watching this super closely. Obviously, the Outer Banks tend to get impacted the worst from these types of situations, so that is also to be expected. Severe weather cannot be ruled out either in this type of a situation. So definitely, even though this won't be likely a hurricane at this point, it could be bringing some pretty major impacts there. I think especially flooding, in my opinion. Now, Friday, September 1st here, we can see that there is plenty of thunderstorms happening for the southwest all the way up through the northwest. Also for areas in the southeast, we're seeing some of this. But overall, a little bit quieter here as a lot of that tropical activity has obviously died down. Saturday the 2nd here, we still see some thunderstorm activity out west. And for the Gulf Coast, the very far deep south, we're seeing some still as well. Let's take a look at Sunday the 3rd here. And we see a couple of areas of low pressure, especially out west and up for Canada. And this is all going to lead towards just overall some storminess, both in western United States and western Canada, as you can see. There is a lot happening because of these minor lows that are kind of just all over the place. But on this particular frame, we're actually seeing a much quieter pattern in the east and pretty minimal activity overall. I would say the only area that we're seeing any activity really is this deeper south corridor here. So that is going to be something to watch. Now, Monday, September 4th, we can see that for the Rockies and the Plains, we're seeing some here. We also see some thunderstorms rising up here for a lot of the deeper south. So that is mostly what we're taking a look at by this point. For the 5th, we see things quieting down. This is going to be next Tuesday. And you can see that there is some thunderstorms around for Oregon and surrounding states, some up here for some of the northern plains and upper Midwest, but really, I mean, a quieter period. And this is what we've been calling for a while now, actually. The 6th here, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of thunderstorm activity for this kind of, again, Midwest, Great Lakes area, I would call it. Northern Rockies, seeing a pocket of that as well. And then for our final day here on Thursday, the 7th, a couple of interesting things happening. The northern states seeing the most chance at storms around this kind of end of first week September timeframe, but also potentially some tropical development, perhaps here off the East Coast. This is very far out, so we're going to take it with a grain of salt, but perhaps some more tropical activity on the way. Now, total rainfall here, we did have a quieter pattern for a lot of this model run. We do see some above average activity for a couple of pockets here. Definitely seeing some of that up here for the northwest and the southwest of Canada. And then as you take the Rockies up towards the northern regions of the north central United States, states like North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, those areas are also seeing some above average activity. And then where we see this hurricane make impact, we do see a lot of above average activity in here as well. So definitely some concerning looks here as far as flooding. We are seeing a lot more browns on this frame, and even there for eastern North Carolina, some blues and purple showing up, which is astronomical amounts of rainfall. So we have to hope this really does not happen. 10 to 15 inches perhaps in there, according to this model at least. That's pretty aggressive, so we are going to take it with a grain of salt. But my rule of thumb is if a model is showing it, that means it's potentially possible. So definitely need to pay attention to this and take it very, very seriously. Now, as we just move straight into our temperature pattern, we can see some colder conditions in the east overall, some warming in the central, but we see this really quick cooling trend out west. This happens pretty quickly over the course of just a couple of days, and as we're reaching about September 3rd, we see this negative PNA taking over, and we are going to see a surging warm pattern overall for a lot of the east here. And let's just see this happen. We see that it really moves into this kind of classic negative PNA territory. PNA, of course, stands for Pacific North American Oscillation, by the way. Whenever I mention it without saying what it means, I get a lot of comments, so I want to try to mention it every time. But this is a very big driving factor in our pattern, and it leads towards this warming trend almost every time when you see that type of a pattern. So that's why we watch so closely for it. And we really stick in that type of a pattern all the way through the end of the model run. I wish I could just break it down day by day and tell you guys what's going on, but really there is not a whole lot changing here. We're just seeing this warmth surging in the east, less warmth out west, but there is some trending towards some warmer conditions. So maybe a bit of a question mark here as we approach about the 10th. We're just gonna have to watch and see. Obviously, we upload daily. I did miss a video a couple days ago, but we're gonna ignore that. We do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for daily uploads just like this one. Also hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.